Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user Deleted. Am I the a-hole for snapping back at my brother's fiance for criticizing my parenting? I, 35 female, have 3 children, 10 male, 8 female and 5 male, with my husband, 36 male. My younger brother, 29 male, is marrying Pia, 27 female, in May. They've been dating for a few years. While we've never been close, we get along okay. Although I've never loved how she often oversteps with my kids. For example, giving them dessert before dinner when my husband and I have said no. Joking about how stuffy we are as parents. Constantly referring to herself as the cool aunt, etc. Something important to note is that she works in fashion, which her parents often judge, comparing her to her siblings who have jobs that are considered much more successful in our community. So she has a bit of a complex about it. Anyway, last night we were all having dinner at my parents' place. The topic turned to my kids' school and extracurricular activities. My older son plays soccer, piano, and does karate. My daughter does classical dance, art classes, and swimming. And my younger son does classical singing and basketball. They all have extra math classes once a week. For context, I regretted my parents for not putting me in any activities when I was younger and don't want my kids to feel the same. My husband thinks it'll teach them time management and hopefully some of these hobbies stick. Right now, they enjoy everything, but this could change, boosting their college applications when that time comes. And obviously, we expect them to excel in school. All 3 can do well in their classes without effort, but we don't want them to coast by and burn out like we did, so we are firm on them actually studying, doing homework, etc. So anyway, my daughter is talking about which classes she has which day, and Pia says something like, "Wow, I can't believe you keep them so busy, they're just kids." My husband is like, "Yeah, it's important to be well-rounded." Then later my son is talking about how much he studied for a math test and Pia goes, "It can't have been that important though, you're 10. You should tell your parents to let you relax." At this point I get a little pissed, so I'm like, we want them to build good habits so that they can actually be successful in the future. When you have kids, if you want to raise them to fail, that's up to you. At this, she got really upset and left the room. I guess she thought I was implying that she was a failure, which was not my intention. My brother was pretty mad and thought I was being unnecessarily harsh and that I should have known how sensitive she is about this topic. My parents agreed, saying that I didn't need to take what she said so seriously. My husband disagrees and says that she doesn't have any place to tell us how to raise our kids. And maybe this will stop her from constantly giving us her 2 cents on something she doesn't have any experience with. I don't know, I feel bad for upsetting her because I never meant to insult her profession with my comment, but at the same time, I do kind of feel like she had it coming for her constant criticisms of our parenting. Am I the a-hole? Well, OP, I'm gonna separate topics here. One is your sister-in-law's unwarranted opinions, and the other is your parenting style. Regarding your sister-in-law's comments, I think that everybody sucks, or you're kinda not the a-hole for just, having enough of it. Whatever opinion she's got regarding your parenting style, she can bring to you, but she shouldn't be doing it directly to your kids, that's just rude. And regarding your parenting style, you might want to be careful. They are your kids, of course, and you get to raise them however you want as long as you don't abuse them. But it is my opinion that so many extracurricular activities aren't good for kids. They need time to be bored. They need time to invent games, to be by themselves, and not have every single moment of their days planned out. From what I understand, it's those moments where kids are bored when they come up with games that they actually develop creativity, where creative problem solving actually comes from. And that is so important for a well-rounded adult like the ones you want to raise. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments. Unlovely Lady Bartleby says, "Everybody sucks here. It's not our place to criticize and she sounds very annoying. I'd have set boundaries too. But oh my god, your kids are very much overscheduled. If you regret not being put in activities, go take a pottery class or learn the trumpet or something. Don't live vicariously through your kids by giving them burnout before high school." Consistent Leopard 71 says, "You're the a-hole. Your kids are seriously overscheduled. Do they have any downtime? You can teach time management without overwhelming your kids with activities. Also, your comment was unnecessarily and intentionally cruel." And Scroll Girl 24 says, "Everybody sucks here. Yes, she's overstepping. She also has a point though. Balance is important for healthy development. I had one friend like this in middle school. Parents hyper-fixated on college admissions and a very full extracurricular calendar. In high school, as soon as she got an ounce of freedom, she became known for giving sexual favors to boys in the school bathroom." My randomly assigned freshman roommate was the same, all Kumon and med school pressure. We were loading her into an ambulance with alcohol poisoning within the first month of college. You don't have to like your sister-in-law. Don't let that stop you from considering her perspective though. Your kids may feel the same when they are her age if you aren't careful. OP's edit. Since a lot of people are assuming that I was talking about not putting kids in extracurriculars when I said raising kids to fail, I wasn't. Since Pia was talking about my son studying for his test and how she thought that was unnecessary, that is what I was talking about, is I believe it's important for kids to study. I do not think that kids who don't do extracurriculars are bound to fail, or that my kids would somehow be failures if they didn't do these activities. I just think that it is one good way to set them up for success. Edit 2, more context. I have never forced my kids to continue their extracurriculars, and they know that if they ever feel like they want to stop, they can tell me. I have told them this many times, and they are tired of me asking if they want to quit when they don't. My kids choose their extracurriculars and have lots of friends there. They have told me multiple times how happy they are to be doing them. Always have stories about something fun they did in their classes, etc. I tell my kids to excel in school because that is what they are doing right now, and I know they are capable of it in the future as long as they develop good study skills and work ethic, which I hope that I'm providing them with the tools they need to do it. If they were ever not doing well despite trying, I would never punish them for that, and they know that would be an instance where we could have an open conversation. Edit 3. My kids' schedule, since people have been asking. They wake up at 8 a.m. School starts at 5 and it is a 5-minute drive from my house. They shower, eat breakfast, and I drop them off. They come home at around 3:30 p.m. They play outside with their friends until around half an hour before their activity for the day, when we get ready, including eating a small snack like a fruit or a sandwich, and go. The kids also have granola bars and things in their activity bags, and they're allowed to eat in most of their classes, like during a break or something. The activities usually start at around 5 to 5:15, but some of them start a little later. Their activities typically end at 6 or 6:45. The latest they are ever home is by 7, but that is only on Thursdays, and usually they are home sooner, by 6:15 or 6:30. From then to 7:30 is their time to freshen up and get ready for dinner, which is 7:30 to 8. At dinner, we watch something they want as a family, an episode of a show they like or something like that. 8 to 9, they do homework. This isn't an everyday thing. If they don't have homework, it's more free time. My older son likes to do extra homework and is a bit of a perfectionist, so he usually likes to use up that time. I've told him multiple times he doesn't have to. The younger two rarely have much to do, especially my younger son, who never has homework, just a monthly choice board with some fun activities. So they will usually just sit with their brother, goof around, talk, or whatever. Sometimes bother him a bit, lol. Sometimes I will let them watch TV or something, especially my daughter who is older, or sometimes, if they didn't have too hectic of a day, I'll ask them to help out with some chores. Yes, they have an allowance. Or they will be doing music practice or something like that, until around 9:15. They'll just be all together. Then they brush their teeth and off to bed at 9:30 p.m. In the weekends, sometimes there are games or recitals in the morning. If not, then they spend that time practicing. Then on Saturdays, they have afternoon classes until about 4. After 4, we usually set them loose and they play outside, getting their unstructured playtime. Or we have play dates set up. This is until about 8, when we spend some time together eating dinner and stuff as a family. Sometimes we'll have movie night or game night. This is until around 10 to 10:30 when they will go to bed. If it's a Saturday. If it's a Sunday, 9:30. Or we might have a dinner party. In that case, we will probably be out a little longer, around 12 or 1. The kids usually end up falling asleep there. Also, Sunday is mostly their day. We have an informal rule where we don't really tell them what to do unless they have a makeup class, pretty uncommon. Or some kind of family event, which is usually in the evening, past 7. So no matter what, they get the morning and afternoons to themselves. 9, 10, 11, whenever they wake up until 6, 7ish. Sometimes we might ask if they want to go to the library or a nearby park, or they'll just play at home. Honestly, I use the weekend mornings and afternoons to catch up on chores and do meal prep, groceries, etc. So my husband handles the kids' situation more at these times. Which is why I neglected to mention this in more detail earlier, but my husband thought it was relevant. It may seem a bit hectic, but it is what works for us and we never have had an issue with it. Edit 4. I will be having an honest conversation with my kids tomorrow about whether they enjoy their activities and to reiterate that I would not consider them a failure if they ever wanted to quit, which is just what people have been saying they might think. I don't know how it'll go, but I will keep you all updated. Well, the community is in between everybody sucks and you're the a-hole, and OP gave a very thorough context regarding the schedule to try to mitigate some of the criticism. So now, let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. Thanks to everyone who replied earlier. After reading what everyone had to say throughout yesterday and today, I texted Pia today and we agreed to meet at my brother's to talk, since I wanted to apologize. I started off by saying that I was sorry for what I said and that I hurt her feelings and I made her feel bad about her profession even unintentionally. I could have handled the disagreement differently. I also apologized for possibly communicating that I thought her future kids might fail if she doesn't parent them the way I do mine. She said she didn't take it that way, but was more upset that she thought I was calling her a failure. I reassured her I wasn't and do not see her that way. She ended up accepting my apology and we talked about some other things, including why I lashed out. I told her that I really appreciate her being a caring aunt to the kids, but I was genuinely confused why she always seemed to think that whatever we were doing was wrong and it led to me snapping. She was hesitant to talk about it at first, but ended up revealing more about her childhood and how it affects the way she sees our kids. The only kids she really has any type of regular contact with. According to her, her parents were strict in some ways, like eating habits, gender roles, and grades, and she sometimes projects these on my children, which explains some other comments she's made before. And on the flip side, some of the other more chill things she does is a conscious sort of effort to intervene whenever she sees hints of her parents' parenting style in the way we interact with our kids. Despite her parents' strictness in some areas, they didn't really care about what their kids did out of school and wouldn't sign them up for anything, even if they asked. She said that she felt horrible for thinking this way, but she felt jealous of how my kids got to explore so many different activities, which she never got to as a kid, especially seeing how happy they always are about them. Basically, seeing my kids raised like she wished she was raised just made her think of the what-ifs and brought back the bad memories of what life with her parents actually was like, and demeaning our parenting was an attempt to make us seem less perfect. She told my brother about this but begged him not to tell me because she didn't want us to have a negative opinion of her. Apparently, she's been trying to find a therapist, but it's been tough finding someone who can help her while also understanding things from a cultural perspective. I'll admit it threw me off a little since it wasn't what I had expected, but obviously it was difficult for her to admit and she clearly wasn't proud of feeling that way. I told her I was really glad that she opened up to me and that I could see her point of view, but that her trauma wasn't an excuse to try and parent my kids for me, and that I didn't know how comfortable I would be letting her around my kids just for now until she can get the help that she needs. I asked her to let me know if there's anything else I can do, because I do really feel bad for her after hearing all of this, even though I'm a little disturbed at how fixated she is on my kids. I also told her that she should try to remember that she has a cool job she loves, is marrying a man she loves, and is away from her parents' influence, which sounds pretty successful to me. Not that she needs me to tell her, but she looked like she needed reassurance after our talk. She thanked me and said she would try her best to rein in the parenting talk. She also said that she never saw how it bothered me since I usually would try to play it off. I usually do that to avoid tension. All in all, I think that went as well as it could have. I do wish we didn't have to go low contact, but after talking with my husband, we've decided that right now, that's what's best for our kids, to protect them from being confused and used as parts of their aunt's trauma. We hope that once she's talked with a professional and gotten some real counseling about her past, my kids will be able to build a healthier relationship with her. On a slightly related note, we will be having a family meeting later tonight with my kids once they get back from playing outside to discuss the incident and examine their schedule. Still, the conflict with future sister-in-law is kind of resolved, thanks to everyone for their responses and support. Well, OP, I agree with you. As you said, it went as well as it could have, and you gained more insight as to why your sister-in-law was behaving the way she was. I think your and your husband's resolution to go no contact with her until she has a grasp or starts handling this issue is the best choice for your family. So here's wishing you the best in the future, OP. Thanks so much for sharing and take care. And now let's finish this video with a mood booster post. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliance and it's by user M155M01. Throw your receipt at me? Have fun picking it up from the trash. I worked at a hardware store about 7 years ago. We sold big gas bottles, 11 kilos or 24 in Freedom units of liquid petroleum gas. And if you brought in an empty bottle, we would give you a filled one in exchange for a price. How it worked was that the customer came to the checkout, expressed their wishes on what kind of bottle they needed, and paid. The gas bottles were given to them outside the store at a loading station for bigger goods. The checkout machine would print automatically 2 receipts, one normal receipt and one the customer would hand over to a worker in the loading station outside the store as a proof they paid for the gas. By law, we had to always verbally offer a receipt to every customer. This is to prevent selling things under the table and a cashier could get fined if they didn't offer a receipt. So a lot of customers automatically deny having the receipt and just tell you no receipt, thanks, before you even open your mouth. Some take the receipt but just drop it directly in the trash bins right after the checkout. In comes the villain, a middle-aged man who wants to exchange his empty bottle to a filled one. He's being a generic a-hole and barely acknowledged me, the cashier in my mid-20s. He pays and takes the receipts. He crumbles them up and throws it at me. He said he didn't need a receipt. Working in customer service was not a peak career point, and as every sane person knows, customers are often wrong. However, never ever had I been disrespected so much that someone would throw a piece of trash at me. In kicks the Malicious Compliance. I knew the dude needed the receipt to get what he paid for, so I took the receipt ball he made me, dropped it quietly to the big trash bin next to me, and started helping the next customer in line. The disrespectful man took a few steps away, realized his mistake, and said he actually needs the receipt back. I was busy already with the next customer, so with the brightest smile and happy tone I said, "Sure, it's in here," and handed the trash bin to him. Divine Justice had also arranged it so that we had cleaned the checkout floors quite recently and emptied the dust into the trash bin. He had to handpick his receipt bowl from the middle of gray dust, old chewing gums, and whatever yucky stuff had ended up in the huge bin. I'm glad to say the a-hole turned a lot nicer and lost his demeaning attitude as he was shuffling through the trashes. Nicely done, OP. A small lesson in humility is always a good thing, particularly to a-holes like that one. Thanks so much for sharing, OP. Take care. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.